Hello, hello. Welcome to the Five Talents Podcast. I'm your host, Abel Pacheco. I interview the top commercial real estate investors and industry experts so you can learn from their experiences. So if you're an investor, a high W-2 earner, or real estate or tech sales professional that wants to invest in real estate without having to manage properties or leave your day job, then this podcast is for you. Or if you're already investing in real estate, but you're doing it part-time and you want to become a full-time multifamily or full-time commercial real estate investor, this podcast is for you too. You're going to learn a ton. You will learn from real-life multifamily investors and other professionals in the industry. They're going to share their blueprints for success, and I'm super excited that you're here. So I hope you enjoy the show. All right. Hello, hello. This is Abel Pacheco, your host for the Five Talents Podcast. We talk about commercial real estate. We talk about financial principles, generating wealth, building wealth, investing, all kinds of topics. And today I have an amazing guest, Mr. Todd Dexheimer. He's one of my buddies, one of my brothers from our mastermind. Super excited that I got into his world a little bit this year because I've learned a ton already, and just being around the presence of somebody else just really crushing it lifts me up. So I thought I would bring him to our podcast as well. So if you don't know Todd, let me introduce you real quick, Todd, and I'll turn it over. He's the CEO of Venture Properties. He's actually a former high school industrial tech teacher. He started doing real estate in 2008. So we started in the same time, basically. He flipped a little bit more than I did. I got to 10 houses. He did 150 single family houses. So they've done a bunch of new development and all kinds of different, projects. Today, Todd's in about $60 million plus of commercial real estate. He has another X amount under contract. They're about to close, and the number keeps growing. There's about 800-ish doors of commercial real estate. So Todd's actually, he's really crushing it right now in the multifamily space. He's dipping into senior housing. He does some coaching, some really good stuff. And he's helping others through a number of different programs, coaching, masterminds, etc. And then he's a podcast host himself. So all of that good stuff to say, he is the man. We're excited to have him. So Todd, thanks for joining. How's it going, brother?
Good, man. Good. Thanks for the introduction. And I got to get you got to book yourself on my podcast, by the way, because I want you on.
That sounds awesome, man. I'd love to. I'd love to.
Book yourself. Get onto my podcast. I'd love to interview you. And so all the people that are listening to your podcast can actually hear our interview together. So it'll be good. I ask some questions they may know, but I'll ask some questions that they don't know. So
yeah, brother, I'd love to join and share some insights. So tell us in your own words, man, who you are and what do you do? And let's dig into a great conversation.
Oh man. Well, who I am, I'm a father and husband and family man and man of faith. And so that's really who I am. What I do is real estate. So I'm into value add real estate. That's how I classify it as. I don't discriminate. I'm okay with doing a little multifamily, which is mainly what I focus on, but we also do assisted living. I've done some retail. I love the industrial space. I'm not shy about office if the opportunities are abound. So I've done a lot of different stuff in real estate, done a lot of single families, as you know. I'm actually doing a fix and flip right now. I haven't done one in about 5 years. And I'm doing my first fix and flip in about 5 years. So, I'm all about value add real estate. I think that's what defines my company.
Yeah, I love it. So it sounds like you're very opportunistic in the asset classes. And for the last several years, it's been a lot of doors, and then now some senior and, like you said, office space, different things, as long as you have some way to force the appreciation up and increase value. And I know why, but maybe I'll ask you anyways, just to hear it, right? What does that do for you and what does that mean? Value add. Maybe you can describe it a little bit and just elaborate so anybody that's new to real estate, they kind of get it.
Yeah, I mean, you're forcing appreciation, right? So you're doing some sort of fixing of issues that are going on with the property. Typically, it's going to be some sort of physical issues, right? So like, yeah, the property just hasn't been upkept, and maybe you got high vacancies, and so we can fix those problems. Sometimes it might be operational or a combination of all of them. So a lot of times we're doing a lot of operational fixes. So we're lowering expenses, we're putting in more energy efficient things, we're just being better caretakers of the building essentially.
Mhm.
And then we're doing things to really improve the overall experience of the building. And so
Yeah.
there's a couple of reasons why I do it. One is because it makes us a lot of money. And so that's good. We like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's and then the other, there's several other reasons. So like I like making an impact, and I make an impact, and we make a big impact, right? So we're taking a building that's down and out, and we're bringing life back into it. So we're breathing life back into the building. We're breathing life back into the community. And then we're providing our occupants, our residents, if it's multifamily, if it's some sort of other commercial or tenants that are renting there. But so we're taking our residents, we're giving them a great place to live. I mean, you just quick, for instance, I don't need to dwell on a lot, but we took a building. I walked through it, and there's a report. This old, like 80-year-old lady was living there, and the elevator was broken down for months. She's
Mm.
walking 8 flights of stairs to get up to her apartment.
Oh
She's
my
got a
gosh.
walking cane, everything. She can't get up to her apartment by taking the elevator. She's got to walk 8 flights of stairs up and down anytime she wants to leave.
Hmm.
Another lady I'm walking through, and I'm like, what are these tiles sitting on your bathtub for? Sitting on the edge of her bathtub. She's got a stack of tiles like, foot tall.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, here. And she opens up the shower curtain, shows me. It looks like chicken pox, like just a bunch of missing tiles all over. They're
Yeah.
falling
Yeah.
off the walls. How long has
Yeah.
it been like that? Well, it's been like that since I moved in 6 months ago. So it's
Yeah.
that type of thing. We're taking those properties that, really are owned by people that just don't put the time and energy and effort into them. And we're changing the overall feel, the overall aspect of that property, and giving them a great place to live. So,
Yeah. I love when you have the double bottom lines, right? So we want to make
yeah.
money. Unfortunately, we're not volunteering our time in the area, just like everyone that goes to work every day doesn't volunteer their time either. We need, some income. We need some cash flow. We need to pay our own bills, but at the same time, we get to help other investors and help our community, help the people that live there, the residents. They call it home. And if you can make a better home for them, man, that their lives are impacted in a positive way. And happy to go home, happy to take a shower every day,
Yeah.
please. Right. So,
Yeah.
or not have to go 8 flights of stairs. Wow, it's amazing. And that's what we're doing every day. So I love it. It's great to hear. So you've done like freaking $60 million worth of real estate. That's if you're raising capital, millions and millions of dollars of capital raised. How in the world did all this stuff get started? Like, did you wake up, one day and say, "Hey, I'm gonna go own a little under 1,000 doors, and I'm gonna, get to 2 eventually"? How did you start? How did that become? Maybe project back into those days and just share some insight with some investors that are listening.
So I'm sitting there. I get done with work, and then I can remember this. I'm sitting there like on the couch with my wife, and I'm like, I got to figure out what I'm going to do when I grow up. And this is, we're newly married. I
Yeah.
just got my dream job. I was a teacher.
Okay.
Uh, we just got a house.
Yeah.
I'm like, I got to figure out what I'm going to do. Like,
That
this
was
is
a
not it.
that was a quick start, a quick decision at the beginning of your
It
your
was. I
career, huh?
realized quickly that it just wasn't for me.
Oh
I was a
man.
person that wanted to make change and wanted to affect things.
Probably why you
And
want to be a teacher, I'm assuming, right?
I wanted to become a teacher, right? But then as I got into teaching, I realized very quickly that wasn't really going to be a possibility, at least the
Yeah.
way I wanted to do it. I was stuck in this administrative, you know, like you can't do it. The school system, and no offense to anybody as teachers, bless them, because that's an industry that we need amazing people in. But
Yep.
the school system, in my opinion, is very archaic, and I wasn't able to really make the change that I wanted to. So anyways, I just wasn't feeling it, and I knew it wasn't for me, and I knew I had to go do something out on my own, and I knew I wasn't going to be employable with somebody else because it just, again, was going to be the same. So it's
Yeah.
not even necessarily that it's a school system. It's just that
The
dynamic of
system.
the system, right?
The
And
system. Yeah.
yeah, the system. And so I needed to create my own system. And so it was just like trying to figuring that out. And I fell upon real estate. It made sense. It was, I was very familiar with building and I did remodeling construction and in the summers and all that kind of stuff. So it just made a lot of sense. The numbers made sense. I was kind of a nerdy financial guy, or still am. So yeah, that was really kind of why I got into it. And I didn't have any money. I started with, my wife, bless her heart, like allowed me to take all of our money and invested in the first couple properties. I don't know why, still to this day, why she allowed that to happen, but she did. I think she was just, she didn't know any better. And it worked. Fortunately, this was 2008. So, great financial crisis. Everybody's running out the door. Everybody's, the fire's burning, flames are bursting out, and everybody's running, trying to get out. And I just walked right in.
Started the direction and walked right in. We bought our first property in 08 also.
Yeah. And so did the same. And people now say, oh, what a great time to buy. Well, at that time, it wasn't so clear it was a great time to buy.
Super hard for the lenders, just to get qualified, all the things.
Yep. Yeah. And everybody's telling you you're stupid, like that. You shouldn't be buying. Like, what do you mean you're buying property? I'm trying to get rid of my property. Like, buy mine, so it's like, it was crazy, confusing time, but it just, to me, it made a lot of sense. And I got into it buying these single family houses. Like I said, we used every last penny pretty much to buy a single family rental and a single family to live and flip. We bought a foreclosure that we lived in and flipped while we lived in it, bought another foreclosure that we kept as a rental, bought another foreclosure with a partner. This was the first time we used private money. It was basically the same exact time I was buying these other two properties, bought a third property with private money. And then I was off to the races from there. I loved it. Loved everything about it. And just kind of figured out how to work the game. And just, you can't follow the sheep. That's one thing I learned while doing that. You can't follow the sheep, man. It's if you want to make a difference in any aspect of your life, you've got to make sure if you're with the crowd, you got to look at it and say, what am I doing wrong? Like, I'm doing something wrong here. How can I change that?
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, those are all great points, right? I heard a couple. You number one, you came to the realization that it was somebody else's system that you were working and not your own. So you had to create your own system if you really wanted to make it happen. The second one is you just took action. You didn't, I'm sure your first deal, you didn't really know what you were doing. Maybe the second, third, you started getting a hang of it, but you took action and y'all made the decision. But most importantly, you took action that was contrary to what was happening, and you didn't follow the sheep. You can't follow the sheep, like you said. So you had to kind of make that path ingrained, and you went for it, man. And 150 times later, that is it's amazing. And I would say kudos to your wife. She's allowing it to happen as well.
Yeah. Bless her heart, man. She's an angel. Amazing. Allowed this to happen. Most wives would not have put up with all my crap for those many years that I went through it. Cause it wasn't like I had a kind of a plan, Abel. Like, my plan in the beginning was to buy a bunch of rental properties. I was going to get 1,000 units and that was like it. And I was going to ride off in the sunset. And a lot has changed since then. But I didn't really know how to do that. So I bought a single family house.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to take a long time to get 1,000 units if I'm buying a single family house, but that's all I knew how to do. So I bought a single family house, and I didn't know after that, like, how I was going to buy another single family house, because I used all of our savings. Like, we didn't have any money left, so I kind of came in with a plan, but it wasn't really a well thought out plan. And it ended up working out really well, because I just didn't, I didn't want to take no for an answer. I didn't want to stop. I knew I wanted to keep on going. I knew that I wanted to do something big. I just didn't know exactly what it looked like. And so it was just through just continuing to persevere and like just continue to push. So I ended up going to, trying to find out where every single like real estate meeting was around in the Twin Cities area where I'm from. And I stumbled on one meeting that really changed my paradigm, changed the way I knew how to do things. And I met several people at that meeting that were really key to me expanding my business. We refinanced the single family house. I pulled money out and was able to continue to buy rental properties and refinance. And I didn't know that
Yeah.
was even possible. Again,
Yeah,
this is during the Great Recession.
before Bigger Pockets blog, before there was
Yeah.
a term called Burr,
Yeah.
and before people even heard that, you're like, oh, this is how we do it. And someone unlocked a little bit of magic for you, it sounds
Yep.
like. And
Yep.
then that opened up or freed up more capital. You guys keep going and then now you have a little bit of track record. So you start raising capital, that kind of thing.
Yep.
And then later just, getting after it, man. That sounds awesome. So uh
One of the real quick, one of the biggest
yeah,
keys right there, though, I think that people need to take out of this is a relationship business, and you need to meet people. You need to be surrounding yourself with people that are doing big things. And if you can do that, you're going to start doing the same things they're doing. Right. So this is a business where you can't just go out at a loan. I would have been stuck had I just said, okay, now I got to save my money. It would have taken me several more years or maybe another year to save up another down payment. But
yeah.
instead, I went out and I found the right people to surround myself with.
Yeah. That's this is not just, if you're listening right now, this is not just for commercial real estate. Networking it will absolutely change your life.
Yeah.
And also the circles that you run with will change your life, whether that's your friends or your family or, people from church or work, right? Wherever you spend the most amount of your time with the people, uh, that those people will leave an influence on you. You will impact them, and together you're gonna be as good as the people that you run with in your own circle. So Todd, unlocking one of the magical mysteries of I guess success that I've experienced is, man, when I start meeting other people that are actually doing other big things, my mind is stretched, the
Oh yeah.
education, the knowledge, the insight. It's like, oh, there is a different way to do it, and now you've unlocked it. Now you can move forward. And then when you're around people that have already done it, they're looking at you like, well, yeah, of course you can do it. You're not questioning whether it can be done anymore. They're just basically showing you how. And now the only step for you to do is like take action. I got to move
Yep.
forward, right? So
Yep.
much easier seeing other people do it.
That's the power of podcasts like yours. People can hear it and they start to believe it, right? They
Mhm.
hear these stories and they're like, wow, this is happening. And you're surrounding yourself. I mean, right now you're hanging out with, Abel and myself, and you're hearing that. So
Yeah, look, here's a nugget to stretch your mind. $4 million. Okay, how long? Just think about whoever's listening right now. How long would it take you to save up $4 million? How long would it take you to make $4 million? How long would it take you to count 4 million bucks if you had paper cash? Right, just however long that is. If you think about those in your mind, Todd just raised $4 million in like 3 days, right, Todd?
yeah, 4.5 to be exact, but who's
Don't
counting?
leave that extra $500,000 out, brother. That's a big jump. $4.5 million in
Yeah.
3 days. I'm gonna go back and edit the show title. That's the show title. $4.5 million in 3 days.
uh,
So I mean, that stretches my mind for sure. I'm like, man. I mean, we've done the raises. They've taken a little longer than 3.5 days. We did a 2 million in 10 days. But that's just nuts. So,
which is awesome.
tell us a little bit about what you're doing today. So now that we know where you came from, tell us what you're doing today and how does it work, and unlock
Yeah.
some more secrets for those that are listening.
Yeah, so the single family game was fun, but I knew it just wasn't allowing me to scale to where I wanted to go, and plus it was doing these flips was like banging my head against the wall at times, and so I wanted to expand and get into multifamily, larger deals, And so my next logical step was to get into like a 10 or 20 unit building. And I did that. And I realized that that was almost the exact same as a single family home. You just got 10 single family homes, basically. Like that doesn't really improve your scale. And we can go into the why later, but it wasn't for me. And so I went to larger units where I wanted to go. And it actually just took a mentor basically slapping me upside the head, essentially. It was a little more gentle than that, but the conversation was basically like, look, man, you're just being a wimp. Why are you any less special than these other people that are doing it? And he he talked to me about, some of these people that we, him and I both knew and that were doing these bigger deals. And
look at John, look at Joe,
right,
look at Sue.
It was. And he's like, look, you've done, 5 times more deals than they've ever done. And they're buying
literally probably have, like you said, like you 10x, what most people ever do. Right.
Yeah. And so it was like, just like he took this little pin and like bursted my limited beliefs bubble. And it was like pop. And I'm like, whoa. And within just a few months, I had 84 unit under contract.
Boom.
And then I closed on 100 unit, 200 unit, and just kept it going. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now. When you ask, is I'm buying 100 plus unit multifamily, big value adds. Typically, we're trying to buy properties that are really just down and out. Basically, when you think of a slumlord owned by, somebody who's just not taking care of the property.
Yeah, we like the slumlords that didn't treat their people or the property well, or the conditions.
We want to provide a great home to people, right? And so we want to take a property that's been down and out, and we can change that to a great home and make a big difference. And so that's our big focus. And then, as you mentioned, the senior housing been a big focus here as of late. We really like the industry. There's within the next 15 years, the senior population 65 plus is going to double, more than double. 70% of all seniors will end up in assisted living care. And so that industry is going to be absolutely on fire.
Yeah. And like super needed, just
very needed.
I know there's those stories every once in a while that you hear, they're neglecting some of the seniors, and I go, golly, that's probably one of them. Is just there's not enough choices or options, and especially with the numbers there, I know people are kind of again running away from fire because of COVID, but at the same time, the data still says there's a lot of people that need a lot of good care, at the end of their lifetimes. So,
and that's a really critical factor is providing that really solid care, and actually truly putting real care into these buildings and into the people that are living there. And so that's a big need. And when we look at that and we say, right now the average age of a resident in one of our houses is 82 years old. And I look at the oldest baby boomers, and the oldest baby boomers right now are about 75 years old. So we've got this massive wave, the silver tsunami, that's going to be hitting our properties here within the next couple of years, and only just pushing that up. So it's going to be an interesting ride here. And our big goal on these senior housings is to add, vitality and healthy living to our residents and try to add years to their lives.
So. Yeah. No, that's great, man. That's a great mission and a great avenue and a great asset class and the great, all the triple bottom line now, right? Yeah. So a lot of bottom lines that you get to improve.
Well, amazing cash flow on these buildings. It's definitely a different deal than multifamily. So there's a whole nother kind of dynamic to it, but the cash flow is absolutely amazing on these deals. And I think the upside will be there in the future.
All right. Well, that sounds great, man. Kudos to you as an operator, as a deal maker, as a sponsor, syndicator, working the magic. And so also the individuals that benefit are your investors. Hello. You're listening to the 5 Talents Podcast. I'm your host, Abel Pacheco. If you're enjoying this podcast, then I know you're serious about achieving financial freedom. Are you ready to create your own path through multifamily investing for yourself and your family? Then I know you're going to appreciate our Investor's Guide to Multifamily Investing. It's titled Tackling Commercial Real Estate the Easy Way. We use this guide to invest ourselves in $93 million worth of real estate. So we're going to show you the basic mechanics of multifamily syndications and how to evaluate your next passive investment opportunity. So the best part, if you subscribe to our podcast now, leave us a review and a rating. I'm going to give you a free copy of our ebook. So please take a moment to do that now. Once you've done that, go to 5tcre.com/ebook, 5tcre.com/ebook. Make sure to let us know you left a review and we're going to send you a free copy. So thank you so much for subscribing to the 5 Talents Podcast. We really appreciate it. So, let's talk a little bit about for our passive investors that are listening, right? So they're looking for some nuggets. They're looking for insight on how to make the next best choice, or maybe some have never done it before and they're kind of, worried about putting their money in it. Some are like, they're in it. They're just trying to figure out the next best option, next best diversification play. Let's talk about some of these principles of wealth creation, right? So I know you've got a podcast, Pillars of Wealth Creation. Tell us at a high level of premise, like how in the world, what are some of those pillars of wealth creation? Let's hear some insights from you, Todd. How do we make some money, man?
Well, wealth and your idea of wealth comes in many different ways. But yeah, if we're talking straight money, you got to invest in asset classes and in people, right? So you want to invest in asset classes that are strong, that are going to be, here in the future, that are going to continue to grow. I feel like we've got probably a good possibility of a high amount of inflation coming for maybe several years, and look for assets that are going to be able to hedge against that, and real estate being one of them. And one of the beautiful things about inflation and real estate is we get mortgages on our real estate, and mortgages are probably the most protected and the best liability during an asset during an inflationary period, right? Because money goes a lot, is inflating, yet your mortgage is staying the same and actually going down. So that's an amazing thing during inflation. And then, of course, real estate's a big hedge against inflation as well. So really like anything real estate related for building wealth right now. There's other asset classes that I invest in as well. But of course, we're talking real estate.
Yeah.
And multifamily, man, it's just a stable asset. When you look at the Sharp index, real estate is the best investment as far as return, and has the second lowest risk profile behind bonds. So,
wow, okay, awesome.
Way better than stocks, better returns than stocks, and way less risky than stocks, way less volatile. So when you look at that, it's like, to me, it's a no-brainer. I don't know, but it's not a no-brainer because it's not as publicly traded, right, as these companies. And so it doesn't get the press, it doesn't get the financial advisors. And so people shy away from the risky real estate and they go for the safe stocks, which makes no sense. So
it's kind of nutty, right? So
yeah, it's kind of nutty.
If you're investing in stock today, which, it's good to have diversification. I am a diversification individual in theory or thought process. Like, oh yeah, it's good to diversify. But when I look at my portfolio, I've taken all of our money out of our retirements, every bit of 401k. I've moved it all into multifamily. So while I tell you it's smart to diversify, because I think that's the safe thing to do, I also look at some of the other individuals that have created a lot of wealth, and they really focus in on one or two things, and they go really deep in that, learning everything they can, and they make as much as we can. And that's essentially been me for commercial real estate, and my wife. is, man, we're all in. And that stock market side, though, if you're used to making 8 to 10% return, and that's pretty decent, right? There's a way to make more than 8 to 10%, and as Todd mentioned, a little more feels reliable, stable. One of the best risk adjusted returns we can have next to a bond is a mortgage, and especially during an inflationary period. I love it. I love hearing all of it. And if you have cash, if you have $1 million today, it's not going to be worth $1 million tomorrow.
It's losing 5% today.
5% is, of money that you're just losing. So that buying power is different. If you put it, I think that's why the capital's chasing real estate right now, right? It's searching for a yield, and we're trying to produce it, trying to find ways to get it. So that's good.
Well, one of the things to speak on you and talking about not diversifying, I think it's Gary Keller who said, everybody says, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. And he says, put your eggs all in one basket.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Protect that basket.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Mm-hmm. And Gary Keller's founder and CEO of Keller Williams. So kind of a smart guy. I think you're putting your eggs in the one basket. You can control that. It really well. You're building that business. You're growing it. There's who can take care of your money better, than you when you've got this business. Now, there's different people and there's different seasons of life, right? So for the high income earner, their basket, what they need to protect is their income, right? Mm-hmm, so they are protecting their W-2 income. They might love their job. They make a lot of money, so it makes sense. So they're protecting that. That's what they're protecting.
That's their, their earning potential, right?
That's their earning potential. Your earning potential is real estate. So that's where you're going to protect. They're protecting that. And then they're diversifying into real estate, into some stocks, into some other things. That makes a lot of sense. So
what a great point. That's a real great point.
Everybody's got a different season and a different reason. So.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I like that. We talk with investors that already have their wealth, and they've created multiple millions of dollars, and they're trying to figure out how to hold on to it as much as possible. I'd like it to grow, but at this point you can tell they're very much making the plays that they know will provide some cash flow, and it'll still be there, as time goes on, right? Whereas if you're a bit younger, you're trying to figure out, hey, I've got nothing to lose. You're playing a little bit stronger, a little bit, the risk adjusted return is different on that side. I can remember those years where I'm trying to make it. So it really doesn't matter, but I like the thought process on high net worth individuals, high income earners, or wherever you're professional in your career and you're in your prime and you're making the most money you've ever made. That's your basket. You absolutely have to make sure you do better at work, perform higher, get a new job, get your increase, get whatever, because the more money you have, now your diversification could be like in real estate or any other area. So I thank you for the mindset. That was awesome. Get it on. So Todd, from everything that you've learned, right? Maybe you can boil it down to a couple of nuggets, right? What actions can I take today that will help me go create more wealth? What's a few actions that we can, just take here? For the listener here.
Yeah, I mean, it's ready, fire, aim, right? So, I mean, you've got to prep yourself and not over prep, right? We want to become educated. You got to learn, hire a mentor, go through that. But you got to take action, right? And so I know some really smart people who are super well educated, but if you're not writing letters of intent, if you're not underwriting deals, if you're not talking with brokers, if you're not meeting with investors, you're not a real estate investor. And it's going to take you a while to get your first deal purchased, but those steps that you're taking, you're writing those LIs, you're putting out the underwriting, you're talking with brokers, talking with investors and so on. Those are taking action. Those are action steps. We got to do that. We got to get on that as soon as we can, as soon as we're educated enough to at least talk like we know what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to go in there and be completely green, because then we look kind of like an idiot, right? But you want to start taking action, then you're going to get that property under contract. Then you're going to be able to actually perform on it. So taking action, I think that's where 99% of people that fail to do real estate, they just aren't taking those steps, or any business really. They're just not taking the steps necessary. They're not actually putting the effort in. So that's huge. Education, taking action, and I think really, patience and perseverance too. And those go kind of hand in hand. You have to be patient. You have to understand that the deal's not going to come immediately. So don't get discouraged. I see a lot of people give up because, they've been trying to get a deal for 6 months or a year, and they give up, and they see everybody else around them getting deals done. I'm just going to try something different. I haven't gotten a deal, so yeah, you gotta push through it. You've got to have patience, and you gotta continue to push and push and push.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well said. I like this ready, fire, aim. I've heard it a couple of times. Where you if you analyze, overanalyze, overthink, you need to get, as you mentioned, you need to educate yourself, but you can't let that paralyze you from not taking action. You got to move forward. You got to, sign an LOI. You got to put an offer out there. It can't just be about, well, what if I can't close it? You'll never get an LOI. You got to put them out there. Yeah. If you're a passive investor, same thing. I've shared this story multiple times, but it was me and my wife. The first time we were looking at a passive investment, we were used to and comfortable signing on the loans for single family houses once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, blah, blah, blah. We do it, right? But the $50,000 passive investment where I have no control over it, we're looking at this 120 something page PPM. And my wife and I were like, do we need a lawyer to look through this? I mean, I don't even know what half of these words mean. And,
right.
And she, the question she kind of came up with, and we were asking herself, she goes, well, look, she goes, first, we know we could lose all our money, right? And I go, yeah, we could lose all of our money. So that's the first one. She's like, okay, we got to be okay with that. Yep. Second one, she goes, well, if we don't do this, what does that mean then? If we don't invest and don't figure it out, then, and we lose all our money, we're still going to have to go back to work, right? I go, yeah. So either way, we're going to be working. So let's just go for it. I'm like, oh, I love you. So let's, me and my wife are there, and it was a little bit of that hurdle to overcome, but that first passive investment, you gotta go, ready, fire, aim. You gotta go. You have to take action. And I like your perseverance and just kind of follow through, because so many people will stop at maybe even if the first deal wasn't a success. Oh, I feel so sorry for some people that just say, oh, I tried that and I lost money. And I was like, how many times did you try it? And they're like, once. And I go, well, that was enough for me. And I go, man, you never had the first, second, third, fourth, fifth. You keep trying. Nobody's great at anything the first time they do it. You got to keep going, right? And just the perseverance to go, whether you're passive or active, you got to keep going, right? It's not about one time. It's 100 times, 1,000 times.
Yeah. And so it's funny. My first flip that I did was a flop.
You broke through, right?
Yeah. I put in a ton of work. I did all the physical labor. I made like $1,000. I made like $1.50 an hour. The government should have came in and fined me for not paying myself enough, because it was basically slavery, right? If I would have given up after that, I wouldn't have done the other 149 flips.
Yep.
So I didn't give up. I kept on pushing through. I knew it was an avenue I could be successful at. And you just got to push through. You're going to have failures along the way. And speaking of decisions, man, I mean, that's why, when I like investors that can make good, quick decisions. I want investors that have that same mentality. I don't want investors that are wishy-washy. We fill our deals fast. We don't take soft commitments. I don't take a soft commitment. I don't want you, because you know what? If you're giving me a soft commitment, that means you haven't decided.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I take commitments. That's what I take. You
Mm-hmm.
commit, you tell me you're in, you're in. You're signing the PPM or signing the subscription agreement. You're signing it right away. You're
Yeah.
not signing it 6 months from now. You're not signing it 6 days from now. You're signing it right away.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're wiring your funds. You're wiring your funds right away. You're not wiring your funds later where you're made a decision and you're going to invest. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
does every once in a while somebody back out for some reason? Every once in a while, but very rarely does it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. All the individuals that can make a quick decision, look at the data, move forward. There's less effort, less energy, and the energy goes in the right spot. I've done my due diligence. I've done the hard work. I've created the 50K active seed. I've already vetted the team. I already did the deal. I already know the market. Let's go. Here it is. And now they can get back to watching their basket,
Yep.
watching their primary earning basket, wherever they make those 50 grand, and let's get back to work. Right.
Yep. Yep.
So love it, man. Hey, what before you go, who would you like to reach out to you, and where can they go to contact you? So for anybody that wants to get in your world, where do they go?
Yeah, I mean, if for certainly anybody can reach out to me, contact me, but I run a coaching, kind of mentoring deal. We call it a mastermind. So we do that. And so if you're interested in learning more, definitely would love to connect with you. It's coachwithdex, DEX.com. You can reach out to me. We can schedule just a discovery call to see if you're a fit. If I'm a fit, not everybody's a fit. I tell a lot of people no, or point them in a different direction. But if it works, great. You're passive investor or an active investor, want to reach out to me. Love to have a conversation. We do 506B as in boy offerings typically. And so we need to have a pre-existing relationship. So let's reach out, have a conversation. If you're local, let's grab some lunch. And they can reach out at venturedproperties.com. So it's venture and then D as in dog properties.com. My email is todd@venturedproperties.com.
There you go. You know where to go. Now you just got to take a little action like we're talking about and reach out. Well, that's awesome. Oh, Todd, is there anything we didn't talk about today that you wanted to bring a little highlight to, some exposure, something you were hoping I asked and I just didn't get to?
Oh man, we could talk for like 6 hours. You want to keep on going? We can go forever. I do have a free book free ebook on my website. So if you go to venturedproperties.com, you'll get that. And then of course my podcast, you can get that through the website too. It's Pillars of Wealth Creation. I'd love to have people listen to that. Of course, after they listen to this, I'd love to have them listen to that as well. So
I love it. Well, go check out that podcast. I know it's worth your time. I know there was some value that was created for you. Go to our 5 Talents podcast, subscribe, rate, review, like us, share it, do all the things. I would appreciate it, and do the same for Todd. Let him know you heard us on the 5 Talents podcast. I would be blessed to hear him say so. And thank you very much for everyone that's joining. We appreciate your time. Caught us on another episode. Hopefully this is valuable to you. And I took a couple pages of notes, my friend. So I'm excited to apply. All right, man. Well, Todd, thank you, brother. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for listening to this episode of the 5 Talents podcast with your host, myself, Abel Pacheco. Each week, we're going to bring you interviews from industry experts and commercial real estate investors who follow their dreams and achieve massive success. Before you leave, let me ask you a few questions. Did you enjoy this episode? Did you learn something valuable? Was your mind stretched to what's possible and what you can achieve? Do you want other experts just like the one you heard today? If you answered yes to any or all of those questions, then please take a moment to subscribe to the 5 Talents podcast, give us a 5-star rating, and most importantly, leave us a written review. Tell us what you liked. Tell us your favorite guest. Give us any feedback. I'm excited to learn and improve so you can get a more valuable show. So thank you again for subscribing to the 5 Talents podcast.